Yeah.
Even though I'm always like, I'm a New Yorker. I'm
Uh-huh.
not a Jersey girl. Anyway, we're live.
Yes.
So, hello, everyone, and welcome to this month. This is actually November's CAD Chats, but because the last Thursday in November, which is when we normally do this, was Thanksgiving, we are doing it the first Thursday in December. So, this is officially the November CAD Chats. But either way, very glad you're here, and we're very excited to have our guest. And we're going to jump right in because it's 30 minutes. We were already talking beforehand, and I feel like this is going to go very, very fast, and we're going to have to cut ourselves off. So I am going to get my applause to make sure that okay, clapping sound. I'm going to move you over, and then I'm going to solo you. And we are going to hear from our guests. You can introduce yourself.
Yes. Okay. So my name is Demi Alyse. Fine artist. I think a lot of things. You wear a lot of hats in this industry, but I got my pick actually studying at Kendall College of Art and Design, which is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then I moved out to New York City to finish my senior year at FIT, and that's how I got acquainted with Miss Michael here. And from there, I got my jump start in the industry with a few internships. I would say they started in Michigan at a company called Public Thread. They're based around sustainability and upcycled accessories. So they have a focus on finding textiles, mostly locally. Michigan is huge in the furniture industry, so they have a lot of partnerships with places like Steelcase, and it's so unique. They take their textiles that would have otherwise ended up in landfills and repurpose it into something else, and they create really unique accessories and bags, and that's really where I got my start, my foot in the door.
Awesome.
And then from there, I had another internship opportunity happen that landed me at Marchesa, which is a women's evening wear brand, and from there I learned so much. But I think it really sparked my interest in textile design and embroidery. I was like, I didn't know this existed. It's like the perfect blend between art and fashion. And that's kind of where I think my career really, really took off. But after that, school finished, worked at Marchesa a little bit afterwards, and then someone from Christian Dior reached out to me with an opportunity to work at in their embroidery design department, or not design, I'm sorry, embroidery department for the Americas. And so it started as, I would say, a fairly small role. I was actually on their machines learning like the tactile operations of embroidering on their handbags. And then from there, I moved up to actually be the manager for all of the embroideries of the Americas, and then also their quality department. So really, really big role, learning things really, really fast.
I can imagine.
So I was there for a little bit, but as we were talking before, I'm very, I would say, overall reserved person. I'm very at home at heart, and my family's here in Michigan. And through all of my experience, I think I just really had a calling for, I think helping others. I'm so lucky and so grateful to have experienced so many things at such a young age and so fast. I think what really gets me going is being able to share all of the knowledge that I've learned and with others, and wanting to move back to my home state. I think it was the perfect opportunity for me to start my own business, and that's what I did in oh my gosh, what year is it? It's 2024, 2023. It's been a year and a half now. So that's what I've been doing since.
Nice. Wow, I feel like you have like an entire career, and you're what, like 20 something?
Yes.
But I mean, that's pretty amazing. You've a plethora of experience that you can bring into your business, and that's really, really amazing. Awesome. So we are here talking about digital software.
Yeah.
So, my question is, which digital software do you primarily use and how do you use it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a hard question because I use just about everything. But if I had to pick right now, I'm really leaning towards Adobe Illustrator.
Mm,
It's a classic, hands down, recommend it to all designers starting out. I think that's like the number one tool that I would like start out using. But for me, it's been a lot of pattern work. I have another software that I use in tandem with that, but I think traditionally I've always started with Adobe Illustrator, and just because I want to, is it okay to say it's industry standard?
it
Like it's
still is. It still
yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like starting that as a base, whether it be pattern work, um, just simple graphics, I don't know, like illustrations, flats. Like there's so many things you can encompass, repeat patterns. You could do that as well. Annotations for any kind of communication, tech packs and things like that. It's all Adobe Illustrator. So
Nice, nice. And then what other ones do you layer on to that?
layer, yeah. So anything in the Adobe Creative Suite, I would say. So Photoshop is a hard second, especially when I do like custom print designs, textiles, and things like that. Um, Photoshop is a huge component. Um, Getting to the pattern making stage, I do use Flow 3D. I'm not an expert,
Nice.
I won't say that, but it has been so useful for me. Speaking for myself, I am, I don't know, size 14 typically, give or take whatever company that I'm, shopping clothes from. But I think my experience in school, it's always been working on a dress form that's smaller or small, or like I have a dress form that is a little bit smaller than what I am.
Mhm.
Specifically being a curvier woman, it's sometimes really hard to get those exact proportions and
Tell me about it.
it's very, very difficult. So I found that Clo has its quirks. You have to get a little creative in terms of the measurements that you put into the avatar. It takes an
Hmm.
eye for it, but I feel like it's done a really, really good job making a human form.
Yeah.
And being able to drape from that is like mind blowing, and the fact that it just cuts your sample making time in half, more than half.
Yeah.
So Clo has been a really good a tool for me that I've been using lately. But I actually use it in tandem with Adobe Illustrator, going back to my number one tool, just because it doesn't necessarily print off so user friendly. I think you
Hmm.
have to really be like educated in that space to know what a DXF file is and how it's going to compute so that you can put it
Right.
into a printer like Gerber or program to send to a factory. Like not the average and or beginner is gonna know stuff like that.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so I typically export with like a PDF file, which still comes out decent. But I think what most people or like the average person, they're used to maybe a pattern that's at like Joann's. There it's a big arrows indicating what the center front is or what the grain line is, and so cleaning up in Adobe Illustrator to make it more user friendly so that it can be layman terms. We could just talk about it without being too
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah, for
So,
sure, for sure. And it's interesting to me. And one of the things that I really loved about, and was excited about having this conversation, it's interesting how you are incorporating that technology into what you do because you are really working on like luxury and, formal wear,
yeah.
designer, like, more high end stuff. Like I'm used to, we're making like lounge sets.
Yeah.
I'm doing flat sketch
Right.
t-shirts and I mean,
Yeah.
my background's in activewear. So like
Right.
doing bra tops and bike shorts, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like it's always interesting to me when people are incorporating the tech
Yeah.
into something that's much more high end. I
Mhm.
love it because I'm always telling people you can use it anywhere and it's really, really helpful.
Right.
And nobody believes me. So you heard it here, y'all.
Yes.
You can use it.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. I don't mean to cut you off, but
Mhm.
I feel like it's new It's new to that sector of fashion still. At my internship in New York, they were full traditional. Like I was not appalled, but appalled that everything was still so like by hand.
Yeah.
And maybe it's my like what I'm technically a Gen Z. I'm on the cusp. I want to say I'm a millennial, but like I'm technically Gen Z. So I was like, where can I use a computer to do these things? Because like in my brain, that's how I want to work. I'm very, I don't know. I just love digital software.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was funny. I oh my gosh, it was some pattern we were doing because textile design is so tactile.
Mhm.
We want to draw everything and like do the patterns by hand, but I think I spent like, I don't know, an hour on like my, I don't know, third week into the internship, um, scanning in the digital files, and they were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But I was like, "It's fine. It's fine. Just trust the process. Trust the process." And I was able to like draw like this. I think it was a gown, an evening gown for something, in a matter of like, I don't know, an hour,
Uh-huh.
and like print it out, and it be the exact specs that we needed it to be. And I was like, boom, like, oh my goodness, and I'm like, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I think sometimes people just have to see it, you
to
know?
to really get it, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you're here, because I keep saying it and nobody believes me, but they can see it all in your Instagram feed.
Yes.
So speaking of which, I want to show some of your work. So this is, oops, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh no. Okay. So this is some, like samples of what is the final what the final product is,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then here is, oh wait, I didn't mean to go that fast. This was all in order before. Oh, here it is.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is the detail, y'all.
Yes.
This is the detail. And I mean, it's beautiful. This looks like this was all handwork.
It was all handwork. Hand beaded, I will say.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you really have to have a certain mentality and a certain patience, and because I don't know if I could do that.
For sure. It is a very, I feel like I'm very unique in this. I'm very detail oriented. Like
Mhm.
like I love to get into the nitty-gritty, like tactile small numbers and things like that. I feel like it's always been an interest for me. And so
Yeah.
I think you do have to have that kind of mindset or interest to get into it because it can get so specific.
Yeah. And
Um,
I guess it has to be a specific thing too, because like I could sit and like do a hand rolled collar
mhm.
on a tailored jacket.
Yep.
Like that's my thing,
Right. Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
this, I'd be like,
No, I'm done. Yeah, like
get out of
or
here.
how some people can knit and they can crochet. They could sit for hours, and it's like me, I can't do that.
Yeah. I'm like,
So,
get out of here with that
mhm,
knitting. Give me a
mhm.
machine.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now this I loved because it kind of shows from beginning to end the process
Mhm.
and how you're incorporating that technology in the beginning, but then also this part of it, this is all the handwork,
Right.
you know? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's still very tactile. It's still something that you have to, one, know what you're doing,
Yes.
but also too, like, you've got to get in there with a needle and thread.
Right. Put it all
With the
together.
little
Symbol.
yeah, your thimble, your little scissors with the stork scissors. Is that
Oh, uh-huh. Yep, yep,
what's
yep,
on that?
yep,
It's like some
yep.
kind of bird on the end of
Yes.
it. And I love this because it does show that this is the entire process. But I also want to say to anyone who's looking at this that this does take some work and it does take some time. Because what would you say how long this took you?
Geez. In terms of waiting period, honestly, it's like a 5-month process. So like hand sewing, the machine after, or like on a machine after like all the components are here, I would say like 2 to 3 weeks if you're pacing yourself. But it's such a long process because you're making literally everything from scratch. It's
Yeah.
like from scratch the drape, from scratch the textile itself. So like actually drawing the artwork and then matching it up to the patterns that you just draped, and then sending it off to. I work with manufacturers in India, which they are literally the most amazing hand beaters ever. But even then, like the production for that could take up to like a month of like just sitting there
Yeah.
hand beating these things, and then to have it sent back here to then be constructed fully, it's a really really long process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, to Crystal, who said that's absolutely beautiful. It is, and it definitely, you can see the time that's gone into it. So I love the time that it actually helps to quote unquote speed up the process with the
Yes,
technology.
yes.
Because had you not done that, that would probably add on
Oh gosh.
another couple of months.
Yes, for sure, without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Okay. Now
Hmm.
this is, so over on the left hand side, that's the actual dress, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. And I had her name written down. I didn't want to forget it. It's Leia
Hmm.
De Leon Hayes.
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
So is she wearing the dress?
She is wearing the dress at the BAFTAs. Geez, I forget what year. I want to say like
Wow.
2 years ago, almost a year ago.
Wow.
It was crazy too how it happened. So this was my senior thesis before the pandemic happened.
Shut the front door.
I
Really?
promise, I promise. And this dress is such a story because it was draped as a size 4 mannequin. And then I went into production, did all of the, like, the designs, the artwork, and sent off the beading to be done. This was the last semester. So it must have been like January or something like that.
Mm.
And then, geez, COVID happened, began March. And so moving back to Michigan, beadwork still happening. It's a size 2, but then I get home and I'm like, well, it's not going to be in the school show. Like, can I wear it? Can I make it for me? So I asked my professor, can, instead of it, being what it is, can I like have it fit myself? And they're like, yeah, I guess we can allow that. I was like, okay, great. So asking my beaters, hey, can we add, a few more pieces here, and eventually end up with like this amazing dress. But years later, I'm like, I took pictures, have it in my portfolio, but it's really just just been sitting just as a showpiece, which is great. But I connected with a stylist on Instagram, and we connected, just like compliments, seeing each other, just being active. And he was like, "Are you a designer?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, "Do you have any dresses?" I was like, yeah. And sure enough, I had this piece and another piece that I had done the semester before, and I shipped them out to his studio, and she tried them on for this event, and she had a few others in mind, but I got a call. I think I was on a train coming from Chicago, and he was like, "Yeah, so she chose your dress, and she's gonna take it out to London and wear it to the BAFTAs." And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
That's
So yeah, it was
amazing.
such a great opportunity.
Yeah, that is really cool. That's really, I mean, it's a beautiful dress.
Yeah, thank you.
Dress. And scattered in the background is all the
Mhm.
CAD stuff. So
Yes.
like I'm assuming up here is Illustrator,
Yep.
and I think all of it's Illustrator, right?
All of it is Illustrator, and this is why I always go back to Illustrator, because it has all the built-in functions. So I keep a library now.
Hmm.
It used to be just like, okay, I remember it was this document that I use this specific bead, but Adobe Illustrator has this amazing function that keeps all of your vector artwork that you
Hmm.
want. It doesn't even have to be vector. I think you can honestly even save an image into your
Yeah,
library.
you can.
But I love it so much because it's like once you've been doing this for so long, it's like you want to collect all of the things that you use all the time. And so, especially with beadwork, I just pull those same beads. I know the specific size. I know I like how it shines, and so I keep a specific file and build out, all of my artwork from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like you're hitting all the points and all the notes that I talked about in class. I feel like a proud mama.
You taught us well.
Now this is this is a corset pattern.
Yeah.
And are you selling this is like for sale?
So it's free if you count that as selling. Yes, I'm giving it away.
Nice.
So yes, I created this in Clo, which again, amazing. But because my focus has always been evening wear, always been textile design in evening wear. And again, being a curvy woman, it's like I've always just like hit the wall when I was coming to make clothes for myself. And something about a corset is just like chef's kiss to me. Like I just want all of my dresses to be corsets just because like I love how I feel when I'm in it. And so that's always been like a staple for me, but I've never found a pattern that was like good for me. So this has been in development for honestly years now. I had a video, I just posted a video. It's from like a 2022, me duct taping myself, trying to get my measurements to now, all the different, techniques that I've used to get this pattern. But yes, it's available. I created it in Clo with modifications in Adobe Illustrator, but
Nice.
So useful.
Nice. And that was one of my questions too. It was like, why corsets?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, they do kind of, they really like shape you, especially this is like, I think one of the times when, not one of the times, but one that everybody else will admit to as well, when if you have a more shapely figure, like the corset, it makes you look.
Yes. Snatched. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And hello to Francisco.
Oh,
hey. Okay. And then this one is one of my faves because it's got both of my programs in
all
there.
The things.
So over on the right-hand side, I recognize that avatar. That is definitely Clo.
Yes.
And then I'm assuming that you, I'm guessing, but I'm assuming you took the patterns, exported them as PDFs, and maybe brought them into Illustrator for the layout.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot of, I'm sure it's a lot of back and forth. So if I do, I'll start with the pattern in Clo, I'll export the PDF and then drop it into Adobe. From there, if it's beadwork, I'll probably work in Adobe so that I can place, because those are where all of like my vector images are. Sometimes if it's a little bit different, or if it's like a texture similar to like that first dress that we had, it had a lot of like tool elements. That can be a little hard, at least for me. I haven't mastered that yet in Adobe Illustrator because it comes across very crisp. And so I sometimes, just for like buyer reasons or like communication reasons for like a client or something like that, I'll take it maybe in Procreate, which is another another software that I will do a lot of hand drawing to maybe make it look better. But then even then, I'll bring it back into Illustrator to make sure it fits within the pattern exactly how I like it. And then from there, I'll bring it back into Clo, and then you can mock it up on the actual 3D figure, and you can see how it lays. Yeah.
That is so cool. I really feel like you've got a really great workflow and a really great grasp of how best to use this for what you do. And I'm in awe. And I love it.
Thank you.
All right. So next question. What has been the most challenging thing about trying to incorporate the digital with the traditional and, the handwork?
Yeah, I think you kind of like touched on it just a second ago. It's knowing when exactly to use this specific thing. I think ideally one program would have all of these things, but that's I know, yeah, it's too much to ask for. But I think because it's like you have that experience of like what clients like or what clients are able to understand, and like knowing, okay, this program, for example, like I said, Adobe, it is a vector program. You can make things that are extremely beautiful that are organic, but I think in my experience, especially for evening wear, they're so used to that hand drawn artistic flow. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily translate when in my brain I know this is exactly how the stitch is going to be because we're using an embroidery machine.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I'm drawing it how the machine's going to read it, but I think to communicate better to whoever you're making, clothes for, that's very important too. So knowing when to switch that off and go over to a program like I haven't used Fresco. I should try because it's a part of Adobe, but throwing it into Procreate to do some like hand drawn things. I think that's the most challenging part. I think the communication and knowing when to switch over, what the like the limits, the limitations of certain things for the things that you're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah. So do you have a favorite tool or a favorite function?
Favorite tool, favorite tool, favorite tool. I'm going crazy for Clo right now. It's just been so helpful. So helpful. So I just had a fashion show, almost 3 weeks ago. And it was just so helpful because it has that avatar. You can just customize it to whatever body
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
possibly want. So it's like, I don't know what can top that right now. Ask me in like another year, I'll probably have another thing, but that's my go-to.
Do you think you will start to like delve into AI?
Ooh, I don't think so. I have a hard line with AI. Like I appreciated ChatGPT for like intellectual things. Okay, I can get it. When it touches art, I think I'm very sensitive because I do appreciate, like I don't know, just the human nature and our expression of art. I feel like
Mhm.
I draw a box there. So
I got you. I got you. I understand. Mouse, stylus, or trackpad?
very, oh no, it depends on what I'm doing. Trackpad out the window for sure. I cannot. I think my wrist. I'm young, but I don't feel young when I'm using that. It's gonna
Listen,
cause some
I
issues.
understand. I don't get people who draw with the trackpad.
Oh
I'm just
no.
like, I don't know what to say about y'all. I'm either in awe or like, huh?
Yes, literally, literally. I think 70% mouse. I have to have a mouse when I work.
Mm,
But I say 30% when I do the hand drawing. But honestly, I would prefer to do things traditionally than to actually sit on like an iPad. I think just for sometimes I get mad the screen's not big enough. I have to like keep zooming with stylus and things like
mm.
that. So I'm like, let me switch to traditional, scan some things in if I have to. So
Gotcha.
mouse overall.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. So, what would you tell someone who is in the luxury space or in like doing custom things, and they're kind of hesitant to try and pull in some of the technology into what they're doing and introducing that into a workflow? So, what would you say to them? How would you suggest to them to introduce that?
Okay. I would say don't be scared.
I feel like somebody's already saying, "Why is Adobe so hard?"
It's not. It's not. It feels intimidating because I think there's endless possibilities of what you can create. But I think it's just taking one thing at a time. It's like, for me, I think I had a frustration. Like, why is it taking me so long? Or why does it have to take me like 5 hours to draw something that in my brain, I know I'm just repeating the same flowers, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, can I make this faster because I have 50 other steps that I have to get to.
yeah.
And so I think it's just starting off with something small. YouTube is our best friend these days.
Hmm.
YouTube University, you could literally learn anything. So take it one step at a time. And I would say maybe start with what's, been the most challenging step for you throughout the
Yeah,
process and see if it could just be the smallest help. And I think from that point, it'll just open the doors of like, oh, okay, oh, this is great. And
yeah.
then, it gradually builds into your workflow.
Especially when you can find that thing that you hate to do and you
Yeah.
can find a way to automate it
Yes.
and make it faster, get
Yes.
it off your plate with some kind of technology. You're like, oh, I'm in.
And yes. Yes.
Awesome. Well, look at that. It's 7:00 already. I can't believe it.
Crazy.
I know that went so fast. But we are going to close out for this week. Thank you so much for being our guest. And can you tell, I'm going to solo you one more time. Can you tell everyone how to find you on social media?
Yeah, on social media, I'm mostly on Instagram. It's Doses of Dem, DOSESOFDEM. But you can also email me if you have any questions. I'm literally an open book. I do have a website, but if you have any specific questions, you can email me at hello@Dominique Alyse, spelled DOMINIQUEALYSE.com.
Awesome. You know, it's so funny because I also felt like, first of all, the whole, I told you when I saw your Instagram, because in school, I knew you was Dominique.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, why is her Instagram Doses of Dem? Like, what is that?
Funny story. Yeah, I've always gone by Demi my entire life, but it's such a weird thing because it's like when you fill out like school documents, work documents, it's like you always put your legal name, but it's like I never know when to tell people. I go by Demi, but like it's fine. Like either or, we're good.
Yeah, I was just like, why isn't it Doses of Dom?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was overthinking it because I was like, is Dem like some kind of Gen Z slang? I was like trying to I was really just making it much more than it needed to be.
I'm crying. No, it's all good. Either or, I'll answer to both.
Yeah, just a little crazy. And Yam, I actually went to fashion school at University of Delaware, but I am teaching at FIT, and that is where I met Demi. And you also graduated from
FIT and then Kendall College of Art and Design in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This was great. We'll have to have you back another time.
Yeah, for sure.
This was
I'm
really
down.
Fun. But everyone have a lovely evening or day, whatever time it is where you are. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Peace.